We did a review yesterday on what prepositions are and what a prepositional phrase looks like. I want to remind you that you have a quiz on Tuesday of next week over this list of words here, the first list. You have 10 words that begin with an A, 9 that begin with a B, and then 5 that are DEFs. So please make sure that you're studying those. It's an easy 24 points if you take the time to work for it. As a recap from yesterday, we talked about what a preposition is. It's a word that shows the relationship between a noun and another word in a sentence. It's one of the words on our list, and we always look for them at the beginnings of phrases, and they help to show where things are located or when things are happening. We have a formula that we use that helps us remember what a prepositional phrase looks like. It has to start with a preposition. It's allowed to have these modifiers or adjectives in the middle, and then it has to end with a noun. And our number one rule is that there can be no verbs in the middle. If you find a verb in the middle of a phrase, then it's not a prepositional phrase anymore. So on the back of today's task list, you have a set of sentences that we're going to work through. So get your highlight or get your pencils ready. We're going to do some labeling using our marks strategy. So we said for marks, the first step is the M. We mark off any imposters, and in this case, we're focused on imposters that are prepositional phrases. You might need to go back and look at your list, but you're looking for a word in this sentence that's on that list. Okay, and the word that I see is to. So if this is a prepositional phrase, then I need to find what is it to? Where's the noun at the end of this phrase? To what? To forest fires. And in this case, forest is used as an adjective. It's describing what kind of fires? Forest fires. Okay, now once I've marked off my imposters, the next step is to ask if there's a verb. And we talked about helping verbs last week, so we're looking for any words that might be on that list that we had a quiz on yesterday. Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been, has, have, had, do, does, did, can, shall, will, may, might, must. And I do see are here, and I look for the word after it, are attracted. Attracted is a verb, and so we're going to label the first verb as a helping verb, and the second verb is an action verb. And once we find our verb, we now can root out the subject by asking whom or what are attracted to forest fires, and we're looking for the one-word subject, and that is beetles. So right now, your paper should look like this when I go to check it later. The next sentence says, they can sense a forest fire from 30 miles. I'm going to go back and look at my list of prepositions, find the word that's in this sentence that's on that list, and I see the word from. Now, if this is really a prepositional phrase, it has to follow the formula. Preposition plus modifier plus noun. From what? From 30 miles. So 30 miles is a prepositional phrase. Ends with a noun, has a describing word in the middle. Guess I forgot to label that one prepositional phrase. All right, so once we get rid of the prepositional phrase, we're left with they can sense a forest fire. I'm going to ask if there's a verb. What's the action being done here? Sense. And I think I seem to recall can as a helping verb. And that makes sense. Can sense. Can is a helping verb. And sense is the action that's being done. Once I've asked for my verb, I'm going to now root out the subject. Who or what can sense a forest fire? They can sense a forest fire. If you feel like you're pretty comfortable with this, what I would suggest you did is pause the screencast right now and try to do number 3 on your own, and then check it with the screencast. Often they fly straight into the flames. Looking for any imposters, any words that are on my list of prepositions to memorize, words that show where things are located or when, and I see the word into. Into what? Into the flames. Flames is a noun, so that's a prepositional phrase. Now I'm going to root out my I'm going to ask if there's a verb. who or what action is being done in a sentence. Let's see, I know they isn't an action. You can't see they. You can't see or do straight, but you can fly. So fly is my verb. I'm going to look in front of here. I don't see a helping verb in here, so it's just fly by itself. Now I can root out my subject. Who or what fly straight into the flames? They fly straight into the flames. Okay, again, with number 8, I would pause and try the sentence on your own, and then you can go back and check it with the screencast. Sometimes they swarm around firefighters. Looking for the word in the sentence that's on my preposition list, and this one's on my list for next week. About, above, across, after, against, around. Around what? Around firefighters is a noun, so that's a prepositional phrase. Now I'm going to ask if there's a verb. What's the action? Swarm. That's an action verb, and I don't see a helping verb in front of it. So now I'm going to ask myself, who or what swarm around the firefighters? They swarm around firefighters. That's my subject. And this is the last example I'm going to do with you. The next 5 you're going to do on your own, and then you're going to turn it in for us to check to see how you're doing. All right, so for number 5, with their own infrared detectors, they sense heat. Looking for a word that's on my preposition list, and I see with. Now, I've got to find, where's that phrase end? Where is the noun? With what are they talking about? With their own infrared detectors. A detector, I know we have a fire detector, helps us find fires or detect fires. So that's a thing. So that makes this a big prepositional phrase. Looking at what's left, they sense heat. So, looking for asking if there's a verb. What's the action that's being done here? Sense. That's an action verb. I don't see a helping verb in front of it, so it's all by itself. So now I can root out the subject. Who or what sense heat? They sense heat. So that's the subject. Okay, the only other thing I want you to do before you get started, I made a goof on the sentence that I gave you. It was a little bit too complicated. I want you to cross off the beginning of this right now. So just scribble that out of there until you get to they. So that now your sentence reads, they smell fire through their antenna. You're going to go through the same process. Mark out any imposters by finding the preposition that's on our list. Ask if there's a verb. We underline it and label it. Be sure to look for some helping verbs as well. And then we root out the subject. Okay, when you're done with that, you can move on to your next task.